Hello YouTube. It is Saturday, January 24th, and I have an update about my case. My last video I mentioned that I had sent in a package for a motion for revision, which to my understanding is a request for a judge to look at the information that the commissioner originally looked at, and the judge would make a decision, thereby rendering the commissioner's decision null and void. The judge's decision would stand, and also open to an appeal if it does not go favorably for me. Now, the comedy of errors in this, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I have 10 calendar days to respond to the original order from the court, the order that found me in contempt, for being 1 month behind, and I make less money. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is, I had 10 calendar days to file the revision. I received the paperwork from my legal assistant, my helper. I can't afford an attorney, but I can afford to hire someone to help me with the paperwork. They finished it after business hours, so I could not call the court and inform them I was sending it to watch out for it. But I sent it, and I had many post-it notes in there on each copy. First copy was to be filed, second copy for the judge, third copy to be returned to me with the stamp on it, official. And I included a note for calendar, because at the time I did not know that motions for revision and motions for reconsideration in this court do not accept oral testimony. So there is no hearing. The judge just reads it, or the commissioner, whichever one. So my package arrives the day after Martin Luther King Day. At least it was supposed to, via FedEx. I called the courthouse 3 times that morning, asking if they've received it, to be on the lookout for it, my intention of what's going to happen with it, and my concern that I sent it to the wrong room number, and that it should get routed to the correct room so that the process can be complete. I felt like I made a good effort, the old college try, 3 phone calls before noon, and I was assured that they would look out for it and get it handled. I called in the afternoon and got a voicemail. They were busy, so no response. I did not leave a message. And I called basically right at closing time on that Tuesday. And I did leave a long message, and nobody called me back. By the time I got around to calling them, squeezing it in at work when I remembered to, it was yesterday, Friday. And I wanted to verify that they had filed the paperwork. I was routed to a, well, I won't say her name, one of the court clerks. And you can tell by talking to her, she was probably past her retirement age. Slow speech, she seemed confused very easily. And that's what happened. She ended up being the one that received my package, and I did not talk to her. I talked to probably 3 other people. And she said she opened it. She didn't quite know what was going on. Apparently she didn't ask. I don't know. And she saw my note for calendar in there with a blank date, because I didn't have that information handy. That was part of my concern. So she saw the note for calendar. She didn't know what was going on. And I guess she did what any confused court clerk would do. Packaged it back up and sent it back to me. So I got no filing. Seriously, not filed. It's still in the mail. I haven't received it back yet. So I did have a conversation with her, and while she profusely apologized, the fact is that my package was not filed. She has asked me to send it back, which I'm going to do in just a few minutes here. I'll FedEx it overnight again with a note to her, and we've had a long conversation. and that she would put a note on it saying that it was her fault, that it's late, and everything would be okay, and it would go in front of a judge. Now, I'm not filled with confidence over her statement, but I have to try, so I'm sending it out now. Secondly, on Friday, I received a notice in the mail. Do I have it handy? Yes, from the state of Washington, Department of Social and Health Services, Division of Child Support. Now, I am behind, but it's not like I haven't made any payments. And for them to go for contempt for me being 1 month late, I find ridiculous. And they haven't taken into consideration my wages here. Again, 26% less wages. So this child support order was presented to the state of Washington, and it shows my original earnings at my job in Seattle. And they're basing my child support obligation on that. I don't make that money anymore. And I have a real fear, and I know they do this, and I know it's very common, and it scares me. But I have a real fear that I may not see my next check. I don't know if they can just take the whole check. I think they can. If they do, even if they take a portion of it, I can't pay rent. That will put me at the edge of homelessness right away. If they take some in the future, the payday after this, then I guess I will have this rent paid and have a month. I'll still have to break my lease when they start taking money out, because even now I can't afford to save up to move to the other side of the state to be with my son. If this starts happening, no, not if, when, it's going to happen. When this starts happening, I will not have the resources at all to save anything to move. I'll be stuck away from my son on the edge of homelessness. And I cannot tell you how much that bothers me. Especially considering when we were together as a family, of course, everybody's naturally taken care of under the umbrella, under the same roof. But now that she has filed for divorce, I'm supposed to take care of myself and take care of her household. I couldn't do that. Rewind a year when we're together. I couldn't take care of my family and pay the mortgage and then pay somebody else's $650 for whatever. It's just a $650 monthly recurring debt. I mean, I could drive a Corvette with that kind of car payment. I didn't have that kind of car payment because I couldn't afford it. And so I can't afford it now. It doesn't matter what the dollars are going to. The dollars cannot be accommodated. Something has to break. And what the court system seems to do is just break the men. And you know my story if you've seen my previous videos. What bothers me even worse than that, probably most of all, is I don't feel she deserves to have my son. She is the perpetrator of domestic violence. I'm the victim. It's documented. She injured my son, made him bleed from his face, has bloodied me several times, documented via the sheriff, photographic evidence, yet it gets turned into disorderly conduct. And she gets my son. It doesn't set well with me that I should have to pay her. I know they say it's child support. In my mind, what logically should happen is the parent that did not injure the child, the parent that does not have disorderly conduct, the parent that did not have domestic violence charges against them, me, should be given custody of the child. Now, if that was the case, I would still be able to take care of him as he would be incorporated naturally under my roof, under the umbrella of my protection. Dividing it into two households is just wrong, and I can't do it. And I don't want to go to my grave trying to make these payments. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I guess I have to wait to see what the decision is from this motion for revision, and then move on from there. I'm considering filing a civil lawsuit against her, and I see one of three options. Some variation of a civil lawsuit for emotional distress and mental anguish for her taking my son away from me and the conditions under which he was stolen from me. Secondly, file as a victim of domestic violence, which I was, and file for damages. And thirdly, file under a civil tort, basically that she has made false allegations against me, and bring a lawsuit against her. One of those three is going to happen. I am not going to lay down and just let myself be steamrolled by the system. At the very least, I expect one of these lawsuits to put pressure on her. She doesn't seem to want to comply or negotiate or mediate. She just wants everything. But if she has a second lawsuit against her and required to get another lawyer, I can't see how she could afford that. I have to believe that she will become suddenly and magically more willing to negotiate, more willing to be civil, more willing to allow our son to have both parents. That's really the goal. Okay. All right, that's it for now. YouTube, I'll update you as things change. Thank you for watching.